Hello and welcome back to Space Engineers. In today's video, we're looking at something extremely large and very impressive called the Dockyard SD-P02, which is this glorious thing that I'm currently standing on. This is a gigantic space station where, as you can see, I've got a few ships docked up to just to show you the sheer scale. So we've got the good old Albatross in the background, we've got a small fighter ship, we've got a large fighter ship, and a solar sailing ship right in front of us. Pressing F10 and find this in spawn menu, the Dockyard is a whopping 9,910 large blocks, using pretty much all the DLC packs. We've got a nice lot of information banded on the Steam Workshop page, where we can see its PCU is 50k, which is quite a lot for a structure. If I was to scroll down, we've got a nice lot of information about it, shows the weapons on it, so it does have a bit of defense. And of course we've got a large cargo containers, hydrogen tanks, and a Discord link if you're interested. So giving this thing a thumbs up, which I already have, we're going to come around over to this section, we're going to go around the middle of the structure first of all, then we're going to take a look at the branching paths, then we'll go around on foot, and see what it has to offer, because it does have a few interiors here and there. So over on this section, what we got is our first docking pad, which features 3 connectors and 2 merge blocks. We have a doorway that will go into the first interior, so you can move to your ship to an airtight room if that's what you're after. You can also see 2 Gatling guns to blast your enemies with, as well as 4 auction farms to keep this thing popped up, and of course to recharge any ships that dock up to it. If we were to move around onto the side, we see our small room where we'll go inside from that doorway. There's our hydrogen tank, there's our auction tank, a solar panel for some renewable power, and as you were to move all the way along the main body, we can see one hell of a lot of beam blocks, one hell of a lot of connectors, one hell of a lot of guns. And if we were to continue along, we'll see the start of one hell of a lot of railings. We've got some fantastic use of some slanted blocks. Over in this section we can see even more solar panels, as well as a couple of seats your passengers sit on, and of course have a little break from flying their ships around. A couple of freight crates from decoration, some steps get up and about and all the way around this station. There's our giant 02 with an engineer just standing there, even more seats, even more freight crates. Then we come along to the middle where I was standing at the top, we've got our central hub. In this area there is quite a lot of stuff going on, as well as a programmable block that you could set up if you want to, as well as some button panels that also need to be set up if you want to have a disconnecting system. Moving all the way to the opposite side, it's going to be basically the same as what we just saw, so putting on my light, in fact there's no light on this, we'll go past some more seats, some more freight crates, over to here is another 02, moving all the way across, past another section, we'll then come to another small interior, we'll once again have a doorway that go to the opposite side, and that'll be the exact same as what we just started with. And there it is. So now we come all the way up and look down at it, there is our thrusters, so we can move this station around if you want to like a ship. There's all of our auction farms. And just scooting all the way along, large cargo containers, there's one hell of a lot of solar panels, there's some docking stations for a small ship. Then all the way along to the center section, past another section, even more solar panels, there's the solar ship. And there we are on the opposite side. Just drop it down, coming underneath this, that's what we get, so we've got even more thrusters. All the way along, couple of turrets for them to defend, another docking pad for a much larger ship to come and dock up to this from below. Another docking station, a antenna to make sure you can always find this thing. There is the Albatross, and there is the very edge. If we were to look at one of the docking sections, so we've got some steps come all the way down, there's our auction farms, we see our encased conveyors going all the way along, there's a connector on one side. I'll come all the way across to another connector section, which is a bit longer than the other one. I'll come all the way across over to here. We'll then have a docking section on the end with a spotlight. Make sure you can always find this thing. And there we go. If you were to come over to this one, this is a lot shorter one. We then have a bunch of solar panels along the top. Make sure we can generate enough power on this to recharge any kind of ships docking up to it. Got a couple small ones along here. And of course we've got one on the end for a much larger ship. Moving around over to the center one, this one is even bigger than all the rest. We've got a walkway along the top that come across some spotlights. On the side here, we've got another connector for a smaller ship to come dock up to. Around over to this section, we've got the steps move all the way up. Then along the middle here, a few more docking areas. And of course one at the very end for a large ship to come up to. We also have some on the top and the bottom if that's what you need. And come around to the opposite side. There we are. They will come across this one, it's going to be basically the same as what we just saw, but we do have a walkway that comes all the way across, so if you do accidentally fall off this, you've got plenty of ways to get all the way up to it. And I think that will do. So yes, that's a very brief look around the outside of the Dockyard SD-P02. It's a bloody fantastic station that I would just recommend downloading and looking at yourself, because it is exceptionally impressive and a very useful thing to have in your world. But But now what I'm going to do is just grab hold of my character. We're now going to fly all the way across to one of the edge sections. Then we'll walk around into the middle. We'll get a better look at what's going on, because I miss anything going around the outside. So dropping down and over to this doorway, I'm not too sure why the station is turned off, so let's go and fix that. So there we go, we now got power into the station, just closing that up. This is the first room we're greeted with, so it is empty, but we can decorate it if you really wanted to. The left and right hand side, we've got cargo access points. If we were to walk through this doorway, we're going to be instantly greeted by an auction tank and a couple of freight crates. If we were to look to our left and right, that's our large docking pads where we can just run across and go to the albatross if we need to. There's our auction farms, there's a few interior pillars, all the way across, and it is quite a long way to go. It is a gigantic station. If that's the engineer down there, you can barely see him when they zoom all the way out. Yes, that's all this is. If we were to turn around and come all the way back, over to these steps, we can see we've got a few more steps that'll come up to our hydrogen tank at the top here, but this is more for doing maintenance work on the station. Coming back down and continuing all the way along, we've got a little cover wall section that you can once again decorate if you need to, and here are our cargo containers to store all the stuff inside the station. Into this section is your sitting area so you can have a nice little rest from driving a ship around. And moving along, there's another cargo container, there's a gun at the top there, and we'll eventually move across over to our gravity generator where we can no longer float away if we were to jump. A few more freight crates. To our left and right hand side, we've got another docking pad. We can just walk across here, come across to the ships if we need to, and of course do any maintenance work we need. And here's the ship from the previous video we can easily access and go inside. Yes, as you saw, there was some steps that come all the way down to a lower section to go all the way across that middle part, but we won't go down there, we'll just go along the middle for the moment. So we're going to come back into here and over to these steps. So just turning all the way around, you probably saw that there's a few sparks coming off one section. That's going to be our exhaust block, just to add a bit of decoration to the side there. So it's like got damaged in the long run, or maybe it's a bit run down from being in long service. Yes, that just sits there and puffs a bit of smoke, and a few sparks. Looking around, there we are. We now come back down to our little sitting area, a few more freight crates. Over to here we can see another exhaust block shooting out some smoke, and then got a small cargo access point, some more seats to sit in. Moving all the way past this next sitting area, we come up to our central section, which is where I started, standing at the top there. So we've got some spotlights who light up at darkness, looking all the way around this area. That's where we just were, so you can see sparks in the distance. There's the albatross. Over to the middle part, this is our largest docking pad. Well, I suppose we'll walk along here for the moment, come all the way across this, third person view. It's one hell of a way to go. At the very end, two more spotlights. We can see here a few letterboxes spelled WCO. Then we look down at our next docking pad for a few more ships to go to. Turning around and coming to the central building, this is going to be our main control room. Like I said earlier, we've got a program block in here, we've got a control panel, control a few things. But to get into this, we need to come down to the bottom floor and find the doorway. But to make sure it's nice and safe, we do have a few interior turrets, so no sneaky so-and-sos can get in here and mess everything up. On the inside, we've got a small airlock with some armory lockers around the room. Opening up this, into the middle, got a kitchen block to cook some food, do your experiments on. Turning around, there's our survival kit, another armory locker. Opening up that will be the exact same as what we just saw. That of course will lead to the outside. Coming up these steps, here we go, all the way around. We now get to a bed, a little seat so we can see what's going on. Some more lockers around the room. Here's our button panel, here's a programmable block. On the opposite side it's going to be the same. Here's the helm to actually fly the station around, which I'm not going to do because that will tank the frame rate. Just while expecting it to be a exceptionally slow and hulking vessel. In the middle, a planter, there's a gravity generator, over to this section, another seat, more lockers, a time block in case you need it, a proper desk to eat food on. Now we just come down and out of the door we just opened. So moving through this doorway, and hopefully this is the correct way to go, there's another interior turret, and of course a way to get all the way up to where we just saw. We now walk past the sitting section to another engineer, in fact you can get pushed off you go. And there's another ship docked up to the station. Moving all the way across, past another sitting area, some more freight crates, we've got some more steps to go all the way up. We come up to these, all the way around, circle around, up even further, and now up to a small ship docking pad, where we just come and drop all the way down, and unload anything we collect. There is another docking pad with a bunch of solar panels, I almost fell off there. And across over to this section, there's another gun to make sure you're nice and protected, another gravity generator, come drop all the way down, and right in the middle here, next to another exhaust block shooting out some sparks, is another cargo access in case you need it. And then coming towards the other end, we're almost done with this, past another sitting area, past some more cargo containers, past another docking station where we've got a lovely solar sailing ship, all the way across, past our oxygen tank. We then come into the doorway, and this is basically where we started on the opposite side, and there we go. And of course all the way up to the top here is our hydrogen tank, where we will once again come down some steps, go back to where we just were. So there we go, that is the Dockyard SD-02, a bloody fantastic station if you do wish to have it in your world. It's surprisingly light in performance considering how big and how detailed it is, as well as having a couple of large ships hooked up to it as well. There'll be a link to it in the description below if you do wish to download and play around with yourself. Highly recommend you to, and I'll be back with another video some point soon. Bye bye.